Yeah, how many more years will we see you play?
I don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
When he said that, the hesitation in his voice said everything. It felt like LeBron James might really be done this time. Now, word on the street is that the NBA has quietly made it official. LeBron's career is over. But instead of going out as the undisputed GOAT, the narrative surrounding him has taken a sharp turn. From postseason disappointments and controversial calls to accusations that he chased stats instead of rings, critics argue that LeBron didn't just slow down, he damaged his own legacy on the way out. It's truly the end of an era. After 22 seasons of breaking records, winning championships, and sparking debate, the man once known as King James has finally decided to hang up his sneakers. The announcement follows the Lakers' most recent playoff exit, where LeBron's uncertainty about his future was clear during a tense post-game press conference. LeBron James' retirement marks the end of a storied career that has been both celebrated and criticized in equal measure. He leaves the game as the NBA's all-time leading scorer, a four-time champion, and one of the most influential figures in sports history. Yet, despite his incredible accomplishments, many basketball fans and analysts argue that his legacy has been tainted by controversial decisions and perceived shortcomings throughout his career. The debate over James' place among basketball's all-time greats has only intensified in recent years, as critics continue to highlight moments they believe have diminished his standing. Perhaps the most pivotal turning point in LeBron's legacy came in 2010, when he announced during a live television special, aptly titled The Decision, that he would be leaving his hometown Cleveland Cavaliers to join the Miami Heat. What was meant to be a bold career move quickly became a public relations disaster. To many, it felt like a betrayal of his hometown team, a choice that prioritized personal success over loyalty. Former teammate Iman Shumpert even claimed that LeBron ruined basketball by making it acceptable for superstars to team up, fundamentally altering the league's competitive balance. This so-called super team era, ushered in by James joining forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami, drew heavy criticism from purists who believed it undermined the traditional values of competition, loyalty, and individual growth. The criticism of LeBron's career doesn't stop at his team choices. Skeptics often point to his performance in high-pressure playoff moments as evidence that he lacks the killer instinct of other NBA legends. The 2011 NBA Finals against the Dallas Mavericks remains one of the most cited examples. In that series, James averaged just 17.8 points per game and notoriously scored only 8 points in Game 4, a performance that continues to haunt his otherwise historic resume. For many critics, that series exposed a vulnerability in his competitive spirit and mental toughness when the stakes were highest. In more recent years, LeBron's time with the Los Angeles Lakers has added further fuel to the fire. Despite having elite teammates, including Anthony Davis, the Lakers have often underperformed in the postseason. Some argue that by continuing to play deep into his 21st and 22nd seasons, LeBron risked diminishing his own legacy with each disappointing playoff exit. Rather than enhancing his greatness, his late career struggles, in the eyes of some fans, have only highlighted the decline of an icon who didn't know when to walk away. Even off the court, LeBron has not escaped controversy. Critics point to decisions that seem self-serving, such as parting ways with successful coaches like Eric Spoelstra and Tyronn Lue, or the Lakers' controversial consideration of drafting his son, Bronny James, despite questions about his readiness for the NBA. These choices, according to detractors, suggest that LeBron has often prioritized personal legacy and brand building over the collective success of his teams. During his final press conference, LeBron appeared both reflective and at peace, acknowledging his many achievements while also expressing gratitude for the rare opportunity to share the court with his son, a moment no other NBA player has ever experienced. For better or worse, LeBron James leaves behind a career that redefined not just basketball, but sports culture itself. His legacy, like the man himself, remains larger than life, complex, polarizing, and unforgettable.
Obviously, for me, since my first NBA Finals appearance, I think in 2007, the moment I got an opportunity to be a part of that and taste that feeling, from there on, every season that I did not make it to the finals or did not win a championship has been a disappointment.
Playing alongside his son was, for many fans, the perfect and heartwarming conclusion to LeBron James' legendary career. Yet, It also reignited long-standing criticisms of nepotism and preferential treatment that had followed him in his later years. Detractors argue that the Lakers' decision to draft Bronny James had less to do with on-court performance and more to do with appeasing LeBron, a move seen as yet another example of the special treatment he received throughout his NBA journey. However, the debate over LeBron's legacy is far from one-sided. Supporters emphasize his extraordinary accomplishments, becoming the NBA's all-time leading scorer, capturing 4 championships with 3 different franchises, and maintaining elite performance well into his late 30s. They also highlight his influence off the court, most notably through his LeBron James Family Foundation, which has funded education programs and community initiatives, and through his outspoken advocacy for social justice. The complexity of LeBron's legacy goes beyond simple numbers or championship counts. Unlike Michael Jordan, whose story is defined by a perfect 6-0 finals record and an unrelenting competitive drive, LeBron's narrative is one of both triumph and adversity. His 2016 finals comeback against the 73-win Golden State Warriors stands as one of the greatest moments in NBA history, while his failures and controversies have added layers of humanity and debate to his career. Evaluating LeBron's place in basketball history, therefore, is far more nuanced than judging previous legends. As the curtain closes on one of basketball's most dominant eras, the conversation surrounding LeBron James' true legacy is only beginning. His statistics are undeniable. For championships, countless all-star appearances, and a career spanning more than 2 decades. But beyond the numbers lies a deeper question. Was his greatness purely the result of talent and hard work, or was it partly constructed by the NBA itself? This question strikes at the heart of what may become the most polarizing aspect of LeBron's legacy. The belief that his rise to superstardom wasn't entirely organic but rather carefully engineered. To his critics, LeBron wasn't just the chosen one. He was the manufactured king. They argue that his legacy was built not only on performance but also on strategic promotion, favorable treatment, and league-driven narratives designed to elevate him above his peers. From questionable officiating to relentless media protection, skeptics claim the NBA went out of its way to maintain LeBron's superstar image, sometimes at the expense of fairness. Several incidents have fueled this perception. One of the most discussed occurred in May 2021 during the COVID-19 pandemic, when LeBron attended an outdoor promotional event for a tequila brand he invested in. While the league issued a public reprimand, it stopped short of fining him, a leniency that many viewed as preferential treatment. The contrast was striking. Around the same time, Kristaps Porzingis was fined $50,000 for attending an indoor event at a nightclub. An anonymous Eastern Conference executive even admitted, "It's a given that LeBron, because of who he is going to get some things to go his way that don't go that way for others." The NBA defended its stance by claiming that LeBron's event followed outdoor safety protocols with vaccination and testing requirements, whereas Porzingis' incident took place in a higher-risk indoor setting. Still, the disparity in punishment only deepened the belief that LeBron operated under a different set of rules. Another controversial moment occurred in a game between the Lakers and the Philadelphia 76ers when LeBron shoved Joel Embiid with both hands as Embiid went up for a dunk, sending him crashing to the floor. Despite the dangerous nature of the play, LeBron was assessed only a flagrant 1 foul, allowing him to remain in the game, instead of a flagrant 2, which would have led to ejection. Embiid's post-game frustration was clear, as he voiced what many players and fans had long suspected, that LeBron James often received leniency others could never expect.
That's not even close. I mean, to be able to play the game that I love and to be able to be along my son this whole year has been one of the most gratifying, satisfying journeys I've ever been on, just to see his growth from the moment he was drafted when we were all in New York at the draft party.
Joel Embiid summed up a feeling shared by many when he said, "I guarantee if that was me, I would have probably been ejected from the game." His comment underscored a widespread belief among players and fans alike that LeBron James often received more lenient treatment from officials than others would in similar situations. Support this perception. Throughout his entire career, LeBron was called for just 6 flagrant 1 fouls and never once for a flagrant 2, an unprecedented record for a player with such longevity and physical play. Beyond officiating, critics argue that LeBron's immense influence over the league has contributed to the perception of a manufactured legacy. His ability to shape rosters, direct trades, and even influence coaching decisions while still an active player made him a de facto general manager. An amount of power few athletes have ever wielded. From orchestrating his move to the Miami Heat with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, to pushing for the Lakers' acquisition of Anthony Davis, and reportedly clashing with coaches like Eric Spoelstra when things weren't going his way, LeBron's behind-the-scenes control has long been a point of contention. This perception was echoed by analysts like Charles Barkley, who once described LeBron as a made guy, someone the league would never seriously discipline. Critics argue that the NBA and its media partners have long gone out of their way to protect LeBron's image and accommodate his demands, reinforcing skepticism about the authenticity of his accomplishments. Even former players, often speaking off the record, have implied that LeBron's path to greatness was smoothed by preferential treatment both on and off the court. Among fans, especially those from older generations, this has created resentment toward what they see as a softer, more protected era of basketball. The media's portrayal of LeBron has also played a major role in this debate. Detractors claim that his losses and failures are often explained away with excuses, while his victories are glorified beyond reason. They contrast this with the harsher treatment of other legends. Michael Jordan's gambling controversies and Kobe Bryant's perceived selfishness were dissected relentlessly, while LeBron's 2010 televised decision special, announcing his move from Cleveland to Miami, was treated as a cultural event. To many, that moment symbolized the dawn of the LeBron era, when one player's every move began to overshadow the game itself. This perception of favoritism has had a lasting impact on how fans interpret LeBron's career. When people suspect that a player's success stems partly from special treatment rather than pure merit, it undermines the spirit of fair competition. Even genuine accomplishments risk being viewed through a lens of skepticism. Still, not everyone agrees with this criticism. Supporters argue that LeBron has faced far more scrutiny than any superstar before him, amplified by the 24/7 news cycle and social media's constant spotlight. They point out that being labeled the chosen one as a teenager brought impossible expectations, and that the league's support of LeBron isn't favoritism but smart business. After all, he's been the face of the NBA for 2 decades, helping globalize the game and elevate its popularity. From that perspective, the league's leniency is simply a reflection of protecting its most valuable asset. Regardless of which side one takes, the perception of preferential treatment has undeniably shaped LeBron's legacy. As future historians evaluate his place among the all-time greats, they'll have to grapple with an uncomfortable question. How much of his greatness was pure skill, and how much was manufactured? This manufactured legacy debate highlights a broader challenge in modern sports. How to measure true greatness in an era where player empowerment, media narratives, and corporate interests are all intertwined. For LeBron James, this question will remain central to how his career is remembered, especially as comparisons to the player who defined the previous generation, Michael Jordan, continue to dominate the conversation. Forever in the shadow. The Jordan comparison that defined LeBron's career. No discussion of LeBron James is complete without mentioning Michael Jordan. The comparison has followed him since high school, fueling his rise, but also setting a standard he's never been able to fully escape. The LeBron versus Jordan debate has transcended sports, dividing generations and dominating barbershop arguments, talk shows, and online forums for nearly 2 decades. Statistically, both have cases. Jordan boasts 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, 5 regular season MVPs, 10 scoring titles, and an unmatched finals record of 6-0, with a career scoring average of 31 points per game. LeBron counters with 4 championships, 4 finals MVPs, 4 regular season MVPs, the all-time scoring record, surpassing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in 2023, and career averages of 27.1 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 7.4 assists per game. But the debate has never been just about numbers. It's about narrative and perception. Jordan is remembered as the flawless assassin, the ultimate competitor who never failed when it mattered most. LeBron, by contrast, is viewed as the more versatile, enduring player, but one who fell short on the biggest stage too often. His finals record of 4-6 has become shorthand for that perceived gap, a simple yet powerful symbol of why many fans still place Jordan above him. As ESPN's Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe once debated, the argument comes down to what people value more: perfection or longevity, dominance or versatility, myth or reality. And as time goes on, The answer to that question will continue to shape how LeBron James' legacy is ultimately remembered.
First of all, you look at it, that's a very dangerous play. And I guarantee you that if it was me, I would have probably been ejected from the game, which has happened in the past with me getting flagrant fouls really for nothing.
Beyond the sheer number of championships, Michael Jordan's legacy is defined by the iconic clutch moments that have become ingrained in basketball history. From the shot over Craig Ello to the legendary flu game, and his final jumper in 1998 to seal the championship against the Utah Jazz, Jordan's career is a highlight reel of greatness under pressure. These moments have been immortalized and mythologized, giving him an aura of invincibility that transcends statistics, a mystique that LeBron James has struggled to replicate in the eyes of the public. By contrast, LeBron's narrative has often been overshadowed by what many perceive as failures in key moments. The most glaring example remains the 2011 NBA Finals against the Dallas Mavericks, where he averaged just 17.8 points per game and infamously scored only 8 points in Game 4. For countless fans and analysts, that series represented a defining blemish, proof, they argue, that LeBron lacked Jordan's killer instinct when it mattered most. During his debate with Shannon Sharpe, Stephen A. Smith underscored this exact point, declaring that the 2011 Finals forever disqualified LeBron from true GOAT consideration in the eyes of many basketball purists. For Jordan loyalists, that single failure remains the clearest dividing line between greatness and immortality.
See, that's the ultimate equalizer or usurper. Pick whichever one you want to pick. You don't understand that Jordan is 6-0 in NBA Finals?
Yes!
Do you understand that Jordan was MVP all 6 NBA Finals?
Yes!
Do you understand that Jordan never even allowed a final series to go 7 games? You understand that? It never went 7 games!
Another crucial dimension in the Jordan-LeBron comparison lies in how their competitiveness and leadership styles are perceived. Michael Jordan's legendary intensity, his relentless drive and his willingness to push, berate, and even humiliate teammates in pursuit of excellence, has been romanticized as the ultimate model of championship leadership. Though his approach might be seen as harsh by modern standards, it's often celebrated as proof of his singular obsession with winning at all costs. LeBron James, in contrast, embodies a more collaborative and cerebral form of leadership. His inclination to trust teammates to make the right basketball play rather than forcing his own shot has drawn both praise and criticism. Supporters see it as a reflection of high basketball IQ and unselfishness. Detractors interpret it as a lack of the killer instinct that defined Jordan. This philosophical divide, ruthless domination versus strategic orchestration, sits at the heart of how fans define greatness. The comparison is further complicated by the different eras they played in. Jordan thrived in what many describe as a more physically demanding NBA, where hand-checking, rugged interior defense, and mid-range battles were the norm. LeBron's career, meanwhile, has unfolded in a league reshaped by rule changes favoring pace, space, and perimeter play. Jordan loyalists argue that his dominance amid harsher physicality amplifies his achievements. LeBron's advocates counter that he faces a league filled with greater athletic parity, deeper skill sets, and more complex defensive systems, making sustained excellence over 2 decades equally, if not more, impressive. Beyond the court, their legacies diverge in cultural impact. Jordan's influence transcended basketball through the Air Jordan brand and his global stardom in the 1990s, setting a commercial and cultural benchmark for athletes. LeBron, while matching that global presence in a new era, has leveraged social media, business ventures, and activism to shape his identity as more than an athlete. Yet, Jordan's carefully curated apolitical image, focused almost entirely on basketball greatness, contrasts sharply with LeBron's outspoken engagement on political and social issues, which has both earned him admiration and invited backlash. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of the Jordan-LeBron debate is its generational character. Older fans, steeped in Jordan's mythology, often see him as the definitive GOAT, while younger fans, raised in the LeBron era, view him as the modern standard of greatness. This split reveals deeper cultural shifts in how excellence, leadership, and even heroism are defined across eras. For LeBron, the burden of this comparison has been uniquely heavy. He was crowned the Chosen One and dubbed King James before he ever played an NBA game, entering the league not merely to succeed but to succeed Jordan. That expectation, impossibly high and relentlessly enforced, has shadowed every achievement and every failure of his career. Shannon Sharpe, in his defense of LeBron, has often emphasized how fundamentally different their journeys were, arguing that James' greatness should be appreciated on its own terms rather than constantly measured against the myth of Jordan.
When you got 4 games against the Dallas Mavericks in which people looked at you and said choke.
If you say that, you know what?
You cannot get past that.
I can't argue out that one. I can't argue out that one.
And that to me sealed the deal about the MJ LeBron comparison.
As LeBron James steps into retirement, the inevitable comparison to Michael Jordan will continue to shape how his career is remembered. For some, LeBron's longevity, versatility, and unmatched statistical dominance will ultimately tip the scales in his favor. For others, Jordan's flawless finals record, his unmatched scoring instincts, and the near-mythic aura of his competitive fire will forever preserve his status atop basketball's Mount Olympus. Yet, the Jordan-LeBron debate has always been about more than basketball. It exposes deeper questions about what we value in greatness. Do we celebrate sustained excellence over time, or do we revere a shorter stretch of utter dominance? Is it more impressive to never lose in the finals, or to reach that stage again and again despite adversity? Do we admire the collaborative playmaker who uplifts his teammates, or the ruthless alpha who demands perfection? For LeBron, being endlessly compared to Jordan has been both the ultimate compliment and an unshakable burden. Few athletes in any sport have achieved enough to even enter the conversation with a universally acknowledged legend of a previous era. But for LeBron, living in Jordan's shadow has meant that every triumph, every record, and every championship has often been followed by a reluctant qualifier. Yes, but perhaps, as we look back on LeBron's career, it's time to recognize that the Jordan-LeBron debate itself has often done a disservice to both men. Each dominated his respective era in distinct ways that reflected not only their unique talents but also the evolution of the game itself. Jordan reigned as the ultimate scoring assassin, his mid-range artistry and clutch performances defining 1990s basketball. LeBron, on the other hand, revolutionized the modern game through versatility, playmaking, and adaptability. Traits that allowed him to thrive across multiple basketball eras, from the physical post-hand-checking days to the analytics-driven, three-point-heavy landscape of today. Cultural and contextual factors deepen the divide. Jordan's rise coincided with the NBA's global expansion, turning him into an untouchable icon in a pre-social media world. His image tightly managed, his focus squarely on basketball excellence. LeBron emerged in an entirely different media ecosystem, where every move was magnified and every opinion scrutinized. His willingness to speak out on social and political issues made him a powerful voice beyond sports, but also polarized certain audiences who preferred Jordan's apolitical persona. Even their relationships with coaches and teammates reflect their contrasting legacies. Jordan's greatest triumphs came under Phil Jackson's triangle offense, a system designed to channel his scoring brilliance while keeping teammates involved. LeBron, meanwhile, played under numerous coaches and systems, often acting as a de facto floor general himself. His adaptability and basketball intellect allowed him to excel in constantly changing environments, but also led to the perception that his teams lacked the cohesion of Jordan's Bulls. Team construction also underscores their differences. Jordan's Bulls were built steadily around a core of stars like Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, an organic dynasty forged through chemistry and continuity. LeBron's championships, by contrast, came through adaptability and reinvention, forming the Big Three in Miami, orchestrating a historic comeback with the 2016 Cavaliers, and winning again in Los Angeles alongside Anthony Davis. His ability to win under such varied circumstances highlights both his strategic mind and the evolving nature of player empowerment in the modern NBA. Now, with his playing days officially behind him, fans have the rare opportunity to appreciate LeBron James without the noise of constant comparison. Whether you view him as the greatest of all time or one of the greatest, his impact on basketball and on global culture is undeniable. From Akron prodigy to international icon, LeBron has defined a generation of basketball. And while his legacy will forever be intertwined with Michael Jordan's, perhaps the true lesson is this: greatness doesn't have to be singular. The sport is richer for having witnessed both. Well, that's a wrap. If you enjoyed this video, check out the others on your screen right now. Thanks for watching.